Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the Mythic of High King Irongut. He is generally considered one of the absolute best Mythics in the game, as well as the best Delve Mythic in the game, as well as one of the best Mythics you should craft very early on in the game. He is a very good option for running high-level Delves, and if you're currently at a point where you have absolutely nothing that can run high-level Delves, basically just owning a single High King Irongut will allow you to do so. We'll be covering a bunch of teams, have them all in the description, as well as just everything related to him. So basically, why is this thing so good? Essentially, what he gets to do is he has an automatic extra turn, so as long as he's not frozen, he's going to extra turn, so that's already pretty good. He has a little bit of poke damage, pretty underwhelming with that. However, his main gimmick is that his chance to devour, or he has the chance of devouring an enemy, and that is based on his attack value. Once he has 100 attack, he will have a 100% chance to devour whatever he targets, assuming they do not have immune to devour. So he will absolutely devour everything then. If you do something with a curse option, there's nothing that can stop his devour, other than that one indestructible trait, which is pretty much only applicable in Tower of Doom and Delves and Raids and similar game modes of the such. But in general things like Delves, there's nothing that has immune to curse. Maybe bless if they happen to have it, but barely any mechanics exist for bless within Delves. So it gets to absolutely just devour over and over and over again. And due to the high stats of Delves, generally one devour will get it to the point where it's pretty much already good to go. So it is insanely good in that regard. Traits pretty average though. Doesn't really get to do much with it. It does get to steal a little bit of life. Does have a bit of recovery, so it becomes even tankier, which with a single devourer already becomes pretty tanky, but it gets to do so even better. Overall, obviously not used so much for its traits. You don't even need to get a single trait, and you'll still be able to use them to pretty much full viability. He is insanely good just for his ability itself. There are 3 ways to obtain an Irongut if you don't currently have an Irongut. Currently, right now, if you're watching this video, it's been available all week and is still available for the rest of today. You can craft it for 10 Celestials, 20,000 Souls, and 4,000 Diamonds. The other 2 ways to get it is, the next most realistic way to get it is whenever there is a Asian event, which is not currently, nor for a while, but whenever there is a Asian event for a week, you can use event keys and you'll have a chance of getting an Irongut. The third way of getting it is the least likely, though it can be done almost whenever, and that is in the Glory Gem Guild and VIP Dress Drop Table. Whenever there's not an exclusive mythic in the drop table, you will have a chance of getting Irongut. It'll be one out of all the mythics in the game. However, that one mythic could specifically be an Irongut. So those are the main ways that you could potentially accumulate an Irongut, with the most consistent one, of course, being save 4,000 diamonds, wait till he comes back around into the Soul Forge rotation, and then craft them for those diamonds. As far as obtaining diamonds, the best way to do that is Vault Event, which is also this weekend, if you're watching this currently, as well as doing the daily dungeons. This ends up giving diamonds. This gives a particularly high amount of diamonds on Sundays, which is also today. You can end up spending 50 gems on Sunday to get 84 diamonds, 80 from the thing and 4 from those being converted. And it's pretty good value because you also get 2 gem keys in the Celestial. Even if it was only the diamonds, it'd be worth it, but it is highly advised getting this every single Sunday due to its very high value. And of course, you just finish out the rest of the battles, but as long as you did at least the very first battle, you'll be able to get it. Of course, make sure to do the rest of them. But anyways, as far as some teams, let's start getting into that, and then we'll mess with 2 of the teams. One early game team and one late game team will end up showing with it. So as far as the end game team with this, this is pretty much the strongest Delve team in the game. You change the last slot depending on the Delve. Sometimes you go with Leprechaun, sometimes you go with Gimlet. Really just depends what your color restrictions are and stuff like that. But yeah, any blue Delve, you can end up going the Irongut Zuul'goth combo. It is very strong if you happen to have your hands on a Zuul'goth. Basically, you go with your Mountain Crusher, cast your Mountain Crusher, using as something like Titan, so you have half mana start and you gain barrier off of Brown. Your High King Irongut then gets Devour. Generally, when you're using a High King Irongut team, while it's not required, you generally want to have something that can get rid of things that have immune to Devour, because of course Irongut, while very strong, cannot deal with that on his own. So while one way around that is with Zuul'goth, you can instant kill anything, and that will end up hitting through the immune to Devour. So you can end up doing that, getting rid of them, and then have your Devour rate on everything else with a High King Irongut. And then you just use your Leprechaun, your Gimlet, or whatever else you use for mana accumulation with Empower in last slot, and that ends up feeding you all your mana you need. You go from there, you win, and it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy win, and pretty much the strongest Delve team in the game. The cheaper option of this, much cheaper, has actually become available as of about a month or 2 ago. We end up getting a new troop called Deep Magnus. You get this from throwing Chaos Shards at the Eldrazi portal in the Underworld. This is a 13 mana cost that gets to 4 times Curse. This is pretty viable given that it's a 4 times Curse for a pretty cheap troop. It's a epic, though even though it's an epic, it's a faction epic, so it's pretty much like an ultra rare as far as how easy it is to get in that sense. So you can always target it down by just simply going some Chaos Shards on that portal and be good to go. But yeah, it has a 4 times curse. Also has 4 times web. Obviously, the curse is the main aspect that you actually need. This will allow your Irongut to devour everything, and then you just have it devour everything, and then you basically play it the exact same way. Another alternative to this is Mirage Queen if you happen to need to go on other colorations, and Cursed Effigy. All 3 of those options are pretty low rarity. Mirage Queen slightly less so, and you can end up using them depending on the color restriction in order to do your combo and pretty much be good to go. So definitely worth considering, as it is much cheaper, obviously, than a Zuul'goth for doing a rather similar role, just at a slightly slower place. Anyways, a cleanse version of this, Apothecary, very solid. Apothecary has a anything to brown convert. This obviously gives you a lot of brown, which feeds not only into your Mountain Crusher, but also into your High King Irongut. It also gets a cleanse. One pretty annoying thing that can happen on some battles, though it is pretty rare, at least in factions anyways, but in a PvP sense, if you're bringing it out there, is there are a lot of Entangles sometimes, and to get rid of Entangle and other negative stats effects, you can simply just throw down the cleanse on Apothecary and be good to go. Get all your mana accumulated and kind of just go from there. One thing to note with this team is this team does not have any way to deal with if they have immune to devour. So you would specifically have to use this team primarily on teams that don't have immune to devour. So if you are using this team for delves, for example, you might want to check the delve before you actually do it to make sure that there isn't anything that would get too much in your way. Otherwise, you might want to consider a different team or stick to it more so in other game modes like PvP. While it is primarily used for delves, it can be used in other locations. With that being said, here's a PvP team for Irongut. It ends up using Cauldron as a High King Irongut. Another method for this is Earth's Fury, but I'm showing it with Cauldron because a lot of people don't have Earth's Fury because it's an old event weapon. However, you can get Cauldron just from leveling up your hero pretty early. I believe it's like 30 or so brown green mastery or somewhere around there. So you have it at a pretty low level. By like level 150, 200, you'd probably already have this weapon laying around for free. And then you simply throw this into High King Irongut. And ideally, your High King Irongut will have at least 50 attack. If he doesn't, you can use them with medals of Season and Arania. Well, actually Seasons, because Seasons are so much better, at least in the current state of the game, until they buff Arania, which I'm really surprised they haven't yet. But you could just use it with 20% mana start with 2 seasons, and hopefully your Irongut would have over 50 attack. You can then go and double their attack, and then boom, you're already at Devour rate. One other way you could, of course, do this is just mana accumulate spam and hope your Irongut gets a Devour, and then you'll also have Devour rate that way. However, you could do this through a 10 mana cost cast, and as long as he has at least 50 attack, boom, you just got it to 100 plus, which will give him 100% Devour rate, which is worth considering in a PvP sense. Earth's Fury can do relatively similar as well, and apply the attack to your entire team. Aside from that, Mirage Queen is here for the skull spam, since you can end up utilizing some of that attack as well. You could even potentially deliberately let your hero die and then go for a bunch of spam into High King Irongut. High King Irongut generally is not used as a first slot, however, he theoretically can be in some situations. Even in this team, you could theoretically put Cauldron back and kind of do that. It's a lot riskier to put High King Irongut in first slot and generally isn't advised. However, he can be used as a first slot troop, though is more often used as a second slot troop, so do be mindful of that. And yeah, Mirage Queen gets to convert green to Doomskull, and you get to explode green. A little bit of conflict there, but it still ends up working out pretty good. And you could always use a different mana accumulator if you really wanted to, since it is a PvP situation. And aside from that, as far as the final team here, we have a Guild Wars, specifically Guild War Brown, of course. I wouldn't really advise using him for Guild Wars, however, I have in the past. He's kind of fun to use, if nothing else. He's not the best for scoring, but if you need something to mess around with, if you don't have too many other options, you can do something along the lines of this. You don't necessarily need Vaush'Dagon. I did just show this with Vaush'Dagon, though. All you need there is any kind of option that has a disable immune to devour. Also, you could check the battle before you go into the battle to make sure they don't have any immune to devour, and you could end up just replacing Vaush'Dagon with pretty much anything else that would end up assisting the team. But basically, you just have a bunch of mana accumulation, you keep throwing down High King Irongut, and you're pretty much good to go. That is the main premise, and overall, not the greatest of options, but if you have a High King Irongut and you kind of just want to end up utilizing something, there are options that can end up using it if you want to try exploring them. But anyways, with all that being said, let's go and actually show Irongut in action. We'll do 2 teams. We'll do the normal Delve team and the low rarity Delve team. As generally speaking, 95% of the time, if not more, you will be using Irongut specifically for the purpose of doing high level delves. For this demonstration, we'll specifically be doing City of Thieves, though of course, depending on coloration, you could apply him literally anywhere as long as Irongut can be used. Do be mindful, even though he does cover 3 colors, there are color combinations that do not allow for High King Irongut to be used. While he is a great delve option, he is not usable in every single delve, so do be mindful of that. Make sure to check the colors. He won't auto win you every single delve. It will just auto win you a good number of delves. Between Irongut and Zuul'goth, it does cover every single delve. However, Zuul'goth, a lot harder to obtain though. Anyways, let's use the more expensive team first, and then we'll go use the cheaper, much more accessible team, and then we'll call it a wrap. And as I mentioned, all of the teams mentioned in this video are in the description below if you just want to simply copy and paste any of them. Anyways, so basic premise here, of course, is get Mountain Crusher up as immediately as possible. Keep devouring like crazy. I believe we already started with over 100 attack because this is a faction. One of the main reasons why this is so good in factions is you have a much higher starting attack in factions, generally meaning that you're already starting at pretty much 100 attack, so you can get straight into Devourers. As you saw there, we had 1,000 HP, 1,000 armor, almost 1,000 attack, and boom, it just died within like, what, 30 seconds? Somewhere around there. That was pretty quick, plus we were talking over it. But anyways, let's go do one more battle, and we'll do this with the cheaper team here, as well as on 500. So just to show that it can indeed do this. Of course, our base stats are a bit higher. However, this can be done with much lower base stats. I just have no way of lowering my base stats to show it. But anyways, here we have the cheaper version, the Mountain Crusher King Irongut Deep Magnus with a Leprechaun. So same general premise, and we're just going to be using a Deep Magnus. The purpose of this, he doesn't actually apply to this exact battle that we're doing, but generally the whole purpose of Deep Magnus is if they have any immune to Devour, what we can do is end up cursing them, and then we can end up devouring them. But this battle does not have that as far as something that we need to worry about. In those cases, you would want to go and get your Deep Magnus all the way to full mana so that you can end up getting it good to go. In case one of them do have immune. You might also notice that we're actually stunning them already as well. One thing that you can do when you're using Titan is set his first perk to stun. This, if something has immune to Devour and only immune to Devour, like they don't have Impervious, but they have simply just only the immune to Devour, you can end up stunning them off your hero by them taking a skull on you, and then boom, you're already good to go and devour it. So that's another option that will allow you to devour at a slightly quicker rate. It also gives you a way to disable some immune to Devours without needing a curse option. It won't work on everything, like for example, obviously stun does not work on Impervious and the such. However, it will cover more options than if you didn't have anything at all, so it still helps in that regard. Anyways, let's go get this Irongut to full so we can go kill this, and that will be that. Let's see if we have any that have immunity so it can kind of show the Magnus. I'm not sure if we're going to have any. However, we have like 1.5 billion options to move from this place, so hopefully we have one. One of these rooms has to have immune to Devour. There's no way none of these have immune to Devour. Perfect. Okay, we have immune to Devour here. So let me go show how you properly use Deep Magnus then. So we'll go to this battle. So here we have an Impervious in last slot. Impervious is not something you would normally be able to stun because it also has immune to stun. As you can also see, it has immune to Devour, as it specifically states there as well. But it also has immune to stun within all of its stats effects immune. So obviously, that thing we cannot normally go and devour. If we were to try to devour that with our High King Irongut, even if we had 100%, I'll go show it right here, it'll do absolutely nothing. I'll take that first though. But if we do this, you'll notice it does not devour. Even though we have 100% devour rate, he has immune to Devour, so it will not devour him. The easiest way to fix this is to curse the thing that is devour, or that is not devourable. So what we'll do here is we'll get full mana. Make sure you have full mana, otherwise it might end up cleansing. You then throw your curse option if you're doing a castable curse, which of course this is a castable curse, so you have to go and cast it, and now you can see he is cursed. He now has no immune to Impervious. You can still see he has Impervious trait there and everything. However, due to him being cursed now, he does not have immunity to it. So now you can see our Devour works, and we can just kill it out like normally. So yeah, that's how you do it. And that can be done with any curse in the game. Deep Magnus is just a very cheap option to end up accumulating, or end up getting the curse, so worth considering. Curse Effigy and a few others. Just look around for the curse modifier, and something you have laying around probably has it. But if you don't, he's really easily targetable since he is from a faction. And Mirage Queen also a really good option to consider depending on the coloration, and also has a lot of other uses, even though it's a slightly higher rarity troop. But anyways, guys, that'll wrap it up for this video. If you still have any other questions about Irongut, Gems of War, or anything else in general, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. As I mentioned, every single one of the teams shown in this video will be in the description if you just want to go copy paste and use them yourself. Best of luck with all of your delving. Irongut definitely makes it a lot easier to go all the way to 500, that is for sure. We'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, everyone.